Good evening and thank you for joining us. It was called a surprise love-in and it was held this morning at Bay Village Coffee in support of the local shop's owners.
Gary Mack and Alan Forbes recently received an anonymous homophobic letter suggesting their sexuality is to blame for an act of vandalism that saw a rock thrown through the window of their business last month. Lee Noonan was there this morning and files this report.
You can be gay, you can be out, you can have a successful life.
Approximately 200 people bundled up to watch the sun rise over Lake Superior with Alan Forbes and Gary Mack, owners of Bay Village Coffee. The couple say they were overwhelmed by the love and support they've seen both at the event and through hundreds of Facebook comments, emails, and phone calls.
We grew up in Thunder Bay, and this was not a gay-friendly town whatsoever. But for us to have a successful business, to be celebrated by the community, to have people reaching out to us like this, all these people coming here today to say that, you know what, we're not into hate anymore. This is about love, and Thunder Bay is a loving, supporting place. And if you're not down with that, well, you're going to hear from us, because we're not putting up with this any longer.
This community doesn't accept that.
The homophobic letter was signed only "Your Neighbors" and quoted Christian scripture extensively. Many attending the love-in event for Forbes and Mack say the letter writers don't represent their faith.
That many Christians are very much in support of LGBTQ community, and we absolutely do not stand by the hateful letter that was sent.
If they're Christian, they're not feeling it in their hearts, that's for sure.
While Forbes and Mack say the letter is hurtful, they wanted most of all to use their social capital to stand up against homophobia and show younger people or those that might be less confident that they can be accepted for who they are.
Is to show anybody else who may be struggling that, this behavior is out there, but it's not accepted by this community. This community says no.
Yeah.
It's my first time being at any type of event like this, and I feel really heard and accepted and happy about it.
The community came out in force today with a clear message of support for Bay Village Coffee and the LGBTQ2 community in Thunder Bay. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
The Crown's key witness took the stand on day 5 of the Thunder Bay murder trial of David Huey and Musab Saboon. Marshal Hardy Fox pleaded guilty last week to kidnapping an accessory after the fact in connection with the February 2019 shooting death of Lee Kyoto. And today he provided shocking and disturbing testimony about the other 2 accused and how the murder was carried out. Hardy Fox was a promising hockey player until he got addicted to crack cocaine 3 years ago. He told the court he was with Huey at a residence doing drugs when Saboon arrived and wanted to find someone who owed them money. Hardy Fox agreed to be the driver as they went to a local bowling alley where Saboon confronted Kyoto and brought him out to the waiting car. The 4 men then traveled to Mission Island. Hardy Fox says he was frightened when he saw Saboon pull out a gun and threaten Kyoto, who begged for his life. He says Saboon and Huey took the victim out of the car near the power plant, and he heard Huey say, "I'll do it." He then heard a gunshot, and Saboon and Huey got back into the vehicle, and Hardy Fox drove them home. Lawyers for the 2 accused will get a chance to cross-examine Hardy Fox when the trial resumes on Monday.
Turning to COVID-19 across northwestern Ontario now, the Northwestern Health Unit continues to struggle with high case counts with the highest positivity rate in the province, but hospitalizations are down today at the Thunder Bay Regional Health Sciences Centre. Over the last 24 hours, the number of COVID-19 patients at the regional hospital has fallen from 34 to 30. The number of infected patients in the ICU is unchanged at 7. The hospital continues to operate above capacity with an occupancy rate of nearly 102%. ICU occupancy has now fallen below 91%. The Thunder Bay District Health Unit is reporting 76 new cases since Wednesday, and the number of active cases has dipped to 211. In the Northwestern Health Unit, there are now 276 active cases, and the test positivity rate is down slightly to 23.6%.
After 2 years of canceled shows during the pandemic, officials at the Thunder Bay Community Auditorium are looking forward to a return to normal. Full crowds will be allowed for the upcoming concerts and shows at the auditorium. And as Corey Nordstrom tells us, it all starts tomorrow with a dance competition.
The Thunder Bay Community Auditorium has been dormant since March of 2020, but this weekend marks the start of what should be a busy year ahead. Crowds can return at full capacity, which greatly helps the auditorium coffers, and vaccine passports being eliminated across the province will speed up lines at the door.
Having a show with 50% capacity changes a lot, and in 2 cases, even this first show, Bianca Del Rio, is up close to 800 seats sold. So 50% of 1,500, we're already over. That wouldn't have worked.
Drag performer Bianca Del Rio marks the first ticketed show at the Auditorium on Wednesday, March 16th. And the following weekend, some of Canada's funniest people come to town for the Snowed-In Comedy Tour on March 19th.
Did she just think that I thought I was drowning?
Pre-pandemic, Thunder Bay's Community Auditorium would host up to 150 shows a year. Now, it will take some time before they get back up to those numbers, but officials at the Auditorium are working hard to make sure that the seats are filled in the near future.
There's a lot of interest from shows that either were scheduled before and had to cancel or postpone to come back. And there just seems to be a strong interest in, getting tours going across the country again, and renters wanting to rent the building for their tours. So we've been fortunate in that sense that there's no lack of interest.
The Auditorium calendar gets even busier in April with Celtic Illusion, a mix of dance and magic. Then there's the Thunder Bay Symphony performing with Stephen Page. And in May, rock legend ZZ Top returns to the city for the first time since 2010. Hurtig says he's anxiously awaiting the return of fans and says it's looking like the repeated cancellations are behind them. Though some restrictions have been lifted, masking is still necessary for the time being, and the facility's bar and vending machines will not be in operation.
Once they realize that it is safe, we are taking a lot of precautions, that we'll start to see people coming back and feeling more comfortable about it. The feedback we're getting is that everybody is really excited about coming back. They just want to know it's for real this time.
This Saturday and Sunday, the venue will get its first public use since the pandemic began, with a dance competition put on by Dance Fest Canada. Admission is free of charge. Corey Nordstrom, TVT News.
A major development at Queen's Park today. Just a few months before Ontarians head to the polls, a high-ranking member of the government says she won't seek re-election. Health Minister Christine Elliott made that announcement this morning. Colin DeMello has the details.
90 days before the next provincial election, and the Ford government has been rocked by a major departure. Christine Elliott announced she will not be running for re-election in June.
It has truly been a pleasure and an honor to work with you. Thank you.
Elliott has been instrumental to the government, serving as both Minister of Health and Deputy Premier. In that time, she consolidated the entire healthcare system under a streamlined bureaucracy called Ontario Health. And during the pandemic, Elliott has been front and center guiding the province through COVID-19.
From the day we got elected, she's been shoulder to shoulder with me, side by side. We've been connected at the hip for the last 2 years throughout this pandemic. And I couldn't ask for a better person, a better friend, a leader, someone with integrity.
So why now? Insiders say while a number of factors played into Elliott's decision, her desire for personal change after years in politics was top of mind. And then there was the pandemic.
It's tiring, of course, but you keep going. And there were many ups and downs, as you know. But I'm very pleased that we're in the situation where we are now.
Her departure, though, serves as a blow to a government that is fighting for re-election. A number of progressive Conservative MPPs have announced they will not run for re-election, including Rod Phillips, who resigned as the Minister of Long-Term Care.
I think it's clear it's becoming more and more difficult for these government MPPs to defend the indefensible in terms of the way that Doug Ford has been leading this province.
The Premier would not say who would replace Elliott as Health Minister after the election, but said this.
I can honestly say we have a better slate now than we did from the previous. And we have an all-star team.
Leaving it unclear who the top candidate would be.
Gas prices continue to spike across the country, and today, Thunder Bay drivers awoke to yet another day of record highs at the pump. A number of Esso stations across the city have increased their prices by 10 cents a litre to a staggering $1.79.9. And Esso wasn't alone, as nearby Mobil and Canadian Tire gas stations followed suit with similar prices. Some other stations remained at $1.69, and gas bars at the Fort William First Nations are still under $1.50. Meanwhile, the average gas price across Ontario and Canada has jumped more than 15 cents over the past week to sit at over $1.79 a litre. 71, my bad. And market analysts say the price hikes probably aren't done yet, so this new local record likely won't last very long.
The Trudeau government is voicing a commitment to boost Thunder Bay's electrical vehicle charging infrastructure. The Community Economic Development Commission has been granted $500,000 from the Federal Ministry of Natural Resources. Thunder Bay Superior North MP Patty Haidu made the announcement on behalf of her federal colleague. The funds will support the installation of 92 local charging stations across Thunder Bay. There are currently about 40 chargers in the city, but this initiative will more than triple that number when all is said and done. The CEDC saw a competitive uptake in applications for the chargers and was able to spread them across a variety of locations for public and private use.
I'm looking forward to Budget 2022 and what commitments it will make towards this endeavor and many others. Obviously, transportation is one huge piece of the pie around reducing emissions, but there are many other things that we need to be focused on.
And the really neat thing about this is that it's going to be a lot of public spaces, from the university to medical clinics to small businesses, restaurants, as well as auto dealerships themselves that are going to be selling these products. So I think it's really great.
Zakruski expects most of the charging stations to be up and running by year's end, and all will be functional in a year's time.
The Lakehead University student juried art exhibit kicked off today at the Thunder Bay Art Gallery. The event is even more exciting this time around, as the artwork can be viewed by the public in person for the first time in 2 years. Vasilios Bellos reports.
The exhibition at the Thunder Bay Art Gallery features a wide variety of pieces from graduating visual arts students at Lakehead University, including paintings and sculptures. Along with this, there are a few interactive pieces, so the exhibit really has something for everyone. Katie Untonen is a fourth-year grad and explains how much this experience will mean to her and her development as an artist.
It feels awesome because we've been in isolation, so I've been painting these things in my bedroom, so it's nice to come out and not only am I isolated, but also my pieces are. It's so nice to actually show my work out, and hopefully I can get my master's, so I need to get my pieces out so that I can grow as an artist.
The art being featured touches on a wide variety of themes, including humanity, nature, mental health, and more. Nathan Cross is also a graduating student and has multiple pieces focusing on addiction and mental illness, two topics he believes are very important, especially during the pandemic.
I know the stigmatizing effects of both disorders, and I want to show that people suffering from those disorders need help and compassion, understanding and not judgment.
It's a great way to expose what they've been doing to their family and friends. It's a great way to make them excited about doing this in the future for themselves.
The exhibit runs until April 3rd, allowing students to show off their skills and share their pieces with the community. Vasilios Bellos, TBT News.
The roof of a bargain store in Sioux Lookout has collapsed, but fortunately nobody was hurt. It happened around 6 o'clock yesterday evening at the Red Apple store on Front Street, about an hour before the business was scheduled to close for the night. Photos on social media show a large portion of the roof collapsed into the store. Sioux Lookout Fire Chief Robert Popovich says there were 4 employees and no customers inside the store at the time, and all of the staff managed to get out safely. Emergency officials closed off the street for safety reasons. Local residents recall a similar collapse happened in that same building about 30 years ago. Popovich says despite the heavy snowfall this winter, flat roof buildings should still be able to withstand the weight of the snow. It will be up to the store's insurance company to investigate the cause.
Some students from St. Francis School participated in an annual winter walk day this morning. The goal was to help them understand the physical, mental, and environmental benefits of walking to school while having fun at the same time. Students and teachers met at the corner of Redwood Avenue and Churchill Drive, making their way down Redwood towards St. Francis. The dozens that attended seemed to enjoy spending time with their friends while learning some lessons along the way. Community partners from Eco Superior and the District Health Unit also took part, helping students understand the importance of Winter Walk Day.
Kids see that it's important and that you can do it all year round. We live in a climate that it seems a little bit prohibitive, but if you put on the extra layer, you can absolutely get out there and walk to school in the winter.
Because not everybody's driving to school and the cars put pollution, so if nobody's driving, then it's better since everybody's walking.
Winter Walk Day is just one of 4 events the Catholic District School Board uses yearly to help promote active and environmentally friendly travel for students.